There are more camper vans than ever before on the highways and byways of the United Kingdom at the moment. And I think that inevitably means there'll be more and more people looking for somewhere to camp wild for the night. Now, in most cases, that's absolutely fine. But unfortunately, there are those who kind of spoil it for the rest of us by leaving the rubbish in laybys, by emptying their waste tanks in laybys and car parks, and by going for a shit outside and not really following the proper procedures. Now, that kind of behaviour reflects badly on the rest of us, and the almost inevitable outcome is that camper vans get banned from various places. And a very good example of that is the Loch Lomond and Trossachs National Park in Scotland, where campervanners like me these days feel very unwelcome. There are signs all over the place saying camping zones and no camping zones, and you know, a beautiful place like that now, I actually feel quite unwelcome when I go there in my camper van. Now, I don't want to preach to you today about all the rules and regulations and everything you should do. I mean, people are hearing these rules all the time. But there are two books that I want to recommend to you. Two books that I think hold some very, very good advice on how to live responsibly outdoors. I know we're talking about camper vans, but you know, it's much the same rules for anybody who, you know, people who bivouac or camp in small tents and backpack, or those of us who live in camper vans and even motorhomes. This Hyundai van of mine has a little locker down here with a porta potty in it, and I think that's pretty good, and we tend to use that when we're camping wild. But a lot of people don't have these porta potties in their vans, and they're quite happy to go out into the woods and do their business. So, two books I really want to recommend to you today, and one of them might surprise you because it's called the Holy Bible. Now, check out Deuteronomy chapter 23, verses 12 and 13, and let me read to you what it says in there. Now, bearing in mind this is advice that was given almost 3,000 years ago, and it still holds good for today. This is what it says. Thou shalt have a place also without the camp, where thou shalt go forth abroad. And thou shalt have a paddle upon thy weapon. And it shall be, when thou shalt ease thyself abroad, thou shalt dig therewith. And thou shalt turn back and cover that which cometh from you. I think that's pretty good. The old language basically interprets as, or translates as, when you go into the wood to do the toilet, take a shovel or a spade or something like that with you, and dig a hole. And when you've finished what you've done in the hole, cover it up behind you. I always carry a little digging implement in our camper van here. This is a little tool I got a number of years ago. It's quite handy. It kind of folds away. It doesn't take up any space, but it's kind of invaluable. And I keep it in this little bag along with some toilet paper. And whenever we go to the woods, we dig a hole. So that's good advice from 2,000 years ago. Advice that was given to the Israelites as they went forth into the wilderness. And as I say, I think that information, that advice holds very, very good today as well. The other book that I want to recommend to you is got a slightly more fanciful title than the Holy Bible. And it's this book by a woman called Kathleen Mayer, an American canoe instructor. And she had years and years of experience of taking groups of people into the backwoods and along the rivers in the wilderness, the wild places in the USA. And she realized that people kind of had to be taught again how to do the toilet in these places so that it didn't leave anything behind. How to shoot in an environmental way, if you like. So she wrote this wonderful book by the wonderful title of How to Shit in the Woods. Now, you can't get more basic than that. And it really is, it's a very, very good book. It kind of follows the rules of the whole Leave No Trace campaign. But it's a book I'd recommend because it's written in a very, very amusing style. It gives you all the information you need, and I think there are many of us in campervanners today who really need that kind of information. So you can get this book probably from Amazon UK. It's an American book, but you can buy it in most good outdoor shops here in the UK. So on that, there's only one thing I would really say on top of all that, and that's just to remember the old maxim and to follow the old maxim, which is take only photographs, leave only footprints. I think that basically says it all. So see you next time. Enjoy your camper.